Financial gurus often focus on the $1 million milestone, but for most people, that number feels too distant to be useful. The actual process of building wealth starts with a much smaller physical struggle. There is a specific threshold where your relationship with money changes. That number is $20,000. Wealth building doesn't work through a linear accumulation of single dollars. Instead, it functions through invisible barriers that, once crossed, change the rules of the game. The first phase is an agonizing fight against financial gravity. Every dollar saved requires intense discipline, and because the returns are small, your progress feels nearly impossible to measure. $20,000 represents the crest of that hill. This is the point where the boulder finally tips forward, and the momentum of your past savings begins to work in your favor. Reaching this achievable target provides the breathing room necessary to stop living paycheck to paycheck. When you start with zero savings, checking your bank account is often a source of anxiety. Every financial choice is made under the pressure of immediate needs. Psychologists describe this as survival mode. In this state, every decision is filtered through a lens of fear and scarcity. Survival mode limits your choices. You might stay in a job you hate or accept poor terms because the risk of leaving is too high when you have no buffer. Even small expenses, like a $3 coffee, can consume significant mental energy. This lack of long-term planning is often a side effect of high stress. When a person is focused on short-term survival, their mental bandwidth is consumed by immediate threats, making it difficult to focus on future growth. Building a cash buffer breaks this cycle. Without it, the math of wealth building remains a secondary concern to the daily reality of making ends meet. Crossing $20,000 requires a period of sustained mathematical discipline. To reach that first $20,000, saving $1,000 a month at an 8% return takes 19 months of consistent effort. For the second $20,000, that timeline shrinks. Because your initial savings are now generating their own returns, you reach the next milestone in 17 months while putting in the exact same level of work. This acceleration continues as the numbers grow. Once an investment portfolio reaches $400,000, it can generate $20,000 in gains in just 5 months, often without any new contributions. The impact of a 10% return changes as your balance grows. On $2,000, that return is only $200. On $20,000, that same return provides $2,000, an amount that can cover significant annual expenses. You don't need access to exclusive hedge funds to see these results. The same index funds available to a beginner work more effectively as the scale of your investment increases. Reaching this milestone means your capital has begun to do a measurable portion of the heavy lifting for you, providing money you didn't have to earn through your job. This mathematical progress leads to a shift in how you process financial opportunities. Research from Vanguard shows that having just $2,000 in emergency savings increases a person's financial well-being by 21%. Pushing that fund to $20,000 adds another 13% boost. With several months of expenses covered, your focus can shift from wealth preservation to wealth building. You have proven you can delay gratification. Consequently, you may find yourself spending less energy on micro decisions and more on macro decisions, like optimizing housing costs or increasing your primary income. The first $20,000 is a tool for building the habits required to manage wealth. It provides the stability needed to make intentional choices about where your money goes. One of the most practical benefits of this threshold is walking away money, which changes your relationship with work. A worker with no savings is often trapped in their current role, regardless of the conditions. This creates a weak position for any kind of negotiation. When you have $20,000, you have several months of runway. You can ask for a raise or push back on unreasonable demands, knowing you can survive for months if you need to find a new position. Frequently, the savings remain untouched. The mere presence of a safety net can increase a person's confidence and assertiveness, which are traits that employers often recognize and reward with more responsibility and higher pay. Success at work accelerates wealth building, which in turn provides more options. This cycle creates a positive feedback loop that gains speed over time. At $20,000, you are no longer just surviving your career. You are in a position to negotiate the terms of your employment. It is common for people to reach this milestone and immediately spend it as a reward for their discipline. A common mistake is buying a new car. A new vehicle loses roughly 20% of its value the moment it leaves the lot, effectively destroying a portion of your Cinevios instantly. Spending $30,000 on a car that depreciates is a significant loss compared to the opportunity cost. If that same amount is left in an investment account, it could grow to over $200,000 over 20 years. Strategic financial thinking involves filtering major purchases through the lens of what that money could become if it stayed invested. This perspective helps distinguish between short-term wants and long-term goals. Hitting $20,000 provides the foundation to move from reacting to life's emergencies to designing a plan for your future.